Alright, welcome 8th graders. This video is to go over your robot research assignment, and so it's a couple week long project, and this video will talk about just from beginning to end the steps that you're going to take, and then I'll go over creating and editing your Google Slides, because ultimately you're going to be doing a lot of research for this project to learn about your robot, and then doing a presentation to your classmates. So first, let's just do a quick assignment overview of the things you're going to be doing throughout this project. And at this point, you should have already picked a robot to research. If you haven't done that, you need to do that as soon as possible, just so you're not wasting more time that you could be researching. Reach out to your teacher if you're really stuck on what robot to research, and we can help you find one. Next, we're going to talk about researching, which is what you're going to spend a lot of time doing. There's some guided questions that will help you search for certain things about your robot, but ultimately, you just need to learn a lot about your robot. And then from there, we're going to put that research into a Google Slides presentation. And then lastly, you're going to be doing a presentation with your Google Slides to your class. And next block, you'll have a sample video to go over that. So let's talk about creating and editing your Google Slides. You should be able to find your presentation in your 8th grade GTT course. And so if you go down to what is automation and robotics, click on that, and then you'll see Robot Research Google Slides. Once you click on that, you're going to open up a new Google Slides that has a lot of information already filled out for you. So you'll click on Robot Presentation, and this is what will pop up. And so some of it's already filled out for you, such as the headings for each one, which you don't have to change. So what is your robot? And so wherever you see the parentheses of your robot, you need to replace that with your actual robot instead of leaving it like this. So for this video, I'm going to pretend I'm researching the Da Vinci robot, which is that surgical robot that you watched in the video a couple blocks ago. So I'm going to type in what is Da Vinci robot. And I'll go through each heading to make sure that I have that changed. So again, how Da Vinci robot works. Change that. And from there, you can see the heading is basically guiding what that slide is going to be about. So I'm going to have to find out all of this information about the Da Vinci robot or whatever robot it is you're researching. And you'll see at the bottom, there are guided questions that will help you know what to research. And in a moment, I'll talk about how to find that. But a couple other things to keep in mind is this is a presentation, and so we want to make it look presentable, add a little bit of color and images. So I'll go to, one way to do it is go to background, and you can see you can change the color of the background. I'll just do this light blue here. You can see that adds a little bit of color. And then anytime you're going to add an image, I have one saved up here. You can take an image, and each slide that you create should have an image in it. So I'm putting one in there, size it down so I can still put my information in on next to it, but that way just giving it a little bit more just background with pictures and color to it. So from there, we're going to just talk a little bit about the research. And to go over that, a couple things I want you to keep in mind with research. First, cite your sources. So anytime you get information from whether it's a website or something else, the final slide, the 7th slide, is you need to just type in that website that you used. Then make sure you're not getting your information just from one website or one site only or one source only, that you must have at least 2, and that notice that's in blue font, which means that would be that grade of about 4 out of 8 if you only did 2. But really you should have 4 sources looking up multiple ways to get information from your robot, and aspire to have 5 or more sources. And keep in mind if the source is credible. So if it's a blog, that's probably not something where you want to rely on information, and you may even find conflicting answers to the questions from one website to the next. So look up more than one website, make sure it's credible. And then ultimately be patient with this. This is not going to be something you finish in a half hour or an hour. It takes a lot of time to read and just gather information by reading. A lot of what you read isn't even going to be answering what you're actually looking for, and so it takes a lot of time. You got to be patient with that when researching. And lastly, just knowing what to research. And so whatever your robot is, you can search for the guided questions that we're going to look at here in a moment in the Google Slides. But ultimately, just learn as much as you possibly can about your robot, and it'll make your presentation go that much better just to know exactly what you're talking about. So let's talk a little bit more about research then. When I go back to the questions here, you can see at the bottom, I have to find out for this slide, it's what type of robot is the Da Vinci? What task does it perform? And then you'll notice in orange, which is a little bit higher up level question, what human function or task does it simulate? Where is the robot used? Insert an image of the robot, which I've already done. So I need to look up questions or what will answer these questions here. And again, each slide has a different set of questions, and I need to put in the information up above here that will directly answer these questions down below. So there are advantages and disadvantages of the robot that you have to look up, the impact of Da Vinci or whatever your robot is. And so here again, it talks about describe the impact of this robot has had or could have on its intended audience, and jobs created to make, design, program the robot, jobs lost to the robot. Many jobs are being lost because robots can get the job done at a cheaper rate rather than paying for labor. So what are those jobs? Who's being affected by your robot? So again, for each slide, look at the bottom here, and this is ultimately what will guide your research. And you may have to look up different sites for each Google slide, but let's just take the first one here, and I'll do that first one with you for the Da Vinci. So what type of robot is it? What task does it perform? What I would do is go to Google, and since I'm looking up just basic background information and what type of robot is it, I'm going to specify Da Vinci robot. What is it? And at this point, instead of just going to one website, I'm going to right-click and open link in new tab. And I'm going to go down and just kind of browse a couple other websites and open up a few tabs, because again, I don't want to just find one website to do this from. I'm going to look up multiple ones. So I see this one's talking about the Da Vinci and how it'll operate, so I'm going to click on that. And about the Da Vinci surgical system, and I'm going to click on that. Maybe I'll end up needing to go to more for this slide. Maybe this will be enough, but for right now, I'm just going to click on these slides here and browse, read through a lot of it, and see if I'm finding the answers to what task does it perform, what human function, where is it used. I'm looking for that. So at this point, it takes a lot of reading. Read slowly, skim through it all, searching for those answers. And so it's possible that my answer is going to be all right in here, but I'm not going to just copy and paste it. What I could do is find the answer, and then I'm going to put it into here. So what type of robot is it? Let's see if we can find it here. And I can see there's different types and how it operates. It continues going down. And so I'm going to browse through these different websites that I can look through that I've just going to not find one website. And so looking at this one here, it says, robot-assisted surgery with Da Vinci surgical system allows surgeons to perform complex, minimally invasive surgical procedures with precision and accuracy. So I know that this is a robotic surgery, and the doctor is controlling the Da Vinci robot system. Expand the surgeon's capabilities and offer an option to open surgery. So I'm going to go back here and answer these questions. What type of robot is it? It is a surgical robot operated by doctors. And what task does it perform? It can do, and this is where I would go back and skim through what type of surgeries does it do, and how is it operating. So I would go back skimming through all of this and type in information to answer these questions directly down below. And just to save time for this video, I paused it and then went ahead and created the rest of this slide answering the questions from here. So you can see it answers what type of robot is it, what task it performs, where it's used, and then of course it's an image of this robot. And keep in mind I'm using bullet points and I'm being very direct about answering the questions, and I don't have to type long sentences or paragraphs because I could take a lot of information here, and instead of typing that into my slide, I will present that information and elaborate it when I'm actually presenting. But for the main parts of the slide, I'm just gonna show the answers, and then from there I can elaborate that during my presentation. So keep the main answers just in the bullet points as you make your slides, and then of course you can talk about it more in depth once you present. And once you're done going through all 7 of these slides, then you're done with your research and your presentation. And so next class you will get a video on just a sample presentation, and you can then start practicing on your actual presentation that you will do for your classmates.